everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I've got a really fun, beautiful project for you. I'm going to show you how to make a table topper that goes along with a table runner. You can make the topper any size you like, and you can make the table runner any length and width that you like. I used two different fabrics. Mine has a fall theme to it, but you can make this for any season of the year. You'll notice on the topper, I'm using rickrack. You don't have to put the rickrack on. It is an option. Okay, now let's get started. The first thing you want to do is measure the length and the width of your table because you need to decide how long you want it to be. My table is very, very long. It's very oversized, but some of you may have one that is shorter. So always measure your table runner first. So then you need to decide how wide you want it, how much of your table do you want showing around the table runner. Your table topper, you can either make a small one that just doesn't come to the side edges of your table, or if you want it to come out very close to the edge of your table, you can cut it larger. To measure for your table topper, measure the width of your table. If you want to make a small table topper, you would take that width and divide it by 2, and that would be the size of the square you cut. If you want a larger table topper, divide it by 1.5, and that will be the size of your square. Depending on the size of your square, you're going to need anywhere from 1/2 yard to 2/3 yard for the fabric and the back, and your cotton batting also. Before you stitch your table topper together, on the fabric for the top, if you are going to use rickrack, you need to draw some lines on it. And you can use a fabric marker, but if it's a really dark fabric, that's not going to show, so you could use chalk. I just went ahead and used a pin because, like I said, it's not going to show. So I recommend you put the rickrack 2 inches away from your outer edge. So just place your 2-inch line on your outer edge and draw lines. You'll do that on all 4 edges. Then you're just going to take your rickrack and lay it right over the line, and then stitch right down the center of the rickrack. And you would just do that to all 4 edges. For the topper, place your cotton batting down first. Then take your fabric for the back, and if it's a print, make sure it's front side up. Then place your fabric for the top with pretty side down. Place pins around all 4 edges, and you're going to leave an opening on one side. So here's my opening, and I'm going to start here. So you want to back stitch first, then stitch a 1/4 inch seam all the way around all 4 edges, and when you come to this pin here, you're going to back stitch. Now trim these corners down to about 1/8 of an inch wide. Make sure you don't get too close to your stitches. You don't want to cut into that. So go ahead and trim some of it off here and a little bit on the outside of the corner, and then a little bit on this side of the corner. And you're doing that on all 4 corners. Now reach in between your fabric for the back and the fabric for the top, and you're going to turn it front side out. So just reach inside and begin turning it out. Make sure you poke your corners out. Don't use anything really sharp because you don't want to push through your stitch line. Then give it a good pressing all over. And I would press the edges that you're opening in 1/4 of an inch, and then place a few pins there to hold it. And then you're going to stitch around all 4 edges. You're going to stitch about 1/8 of an inch seam all the way around. Now this is what it looks like if you didn't use the rickrack. No matter if you did the one with the rickrack or not, you need to do quilting stitches in through this center section here. And You can either do straight stitches across, side to side, up and down. You can even use a serpentine stitch. So if you have a computerized sewing machine, I'm sure you have this stitch on there. It's a wavy line. You probably are going to need to lengthen and widen it as much as possible. If you do not know how to do quilting stitches, then there will be a link listed below your YouTube screen that'll take you to a separate tutorial on how to do quilting stitches. If you're using quilting fabric, on average your quilting fabric is 42 inches long. If you want a short one that's maybe going to finish off at around 40 inches, you only need to cut one strip. If you want it longer, then of course you need to cut two strips. So you would fold your edges together and then cut this edge straight, move over the width that you wanted your table runner. For instance, mine was 12.5. So I went over 12.5 inches, did a cut, went over 12.5 inches again, and did a cut. You would also cut your fabric for the back the same way. Depending how you buy your cotton batting, you may be able to cut one long strip without cutting two strips. If you want the fabric at each end, the contrasting fabric, then you need to decide how wide you want. I would recommend at least 4.5 inches. I believe mine was 10.5 inches long by 12.5. So you need to figure all of that out. If you're making the longer version of the table runner and you had to cut two sections, you're going to take those two sections and bring the ends together and stitch about a 1/2 inch seam along here. From this seam, leave your fabric folded because you want this seam to be in the middle of your table runner. Then from that seam, measure out how long your table runner is going to be, and then you would cut it down to that size. If you're going to add the same fabric onto the table runner that is on the topper, then you need to cut it the width that you want. So cut it as wide as your table runner and then the width this way. Now I'm making a smaller table runner, so this strip is about 4.5, maybe 5 inches. The one that's on my table is actually 10.5 inches. So bring front sides together and stitch a 1/4 inch seam. Press your edge, unfold, and press your seam towards your strip. And you're doing that at both ends. Now you're going to layer all your fabric. So here's my cotton batting. It's cut the same size as my fabric is for the top. Here is my fabric for the very back. It's also cut the same size. Then take your fabric for the top of your table runner, put it pretty side down. And if your fabric for the back has a print on it, have pretty side up. So up, and this one is down. Layer them all together. Place pins around all 4 edges. Before you stitch, you want to indicate an opening, and I like to put the opening more towards the center of the table runner, so if it doesn't look so good when you're done, your topper's going to cover it up. So leave an area large enough for your hand to go through and put pins on each side. Then you're going to start on this side of your opening, back stitch. Go around all 4 edges, all the way around. And when you come to the other pin on the other side of your opening, you're going to back stitch again. Again, trim all 4 corners off. After you finish trimming all 4 corners off, then go ahead and reach inside and turn it front side out. Give it a good pressing. Close that opening up just like you did on the topper. Stitch 1/8 of an inch all the way around all 4 edges. After turning it front side out, poke out all 4 corners, then give it a good pressing. Turn that opening inside a 1/4 of an inch. Press that opening, put some pins on it, and then stitch 1/8 of an inch from the edge all the way around all 4 sides. And then you just put your topper on top, and then you are done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you learned something new. Remember, you can make this for any season of the year. In fact, consider making it two-sided. Maybe Thanksgiving on one side and Christmas on the other. Then you only have to sew one project. If you're interested in other table toppers, I have some that are a variety of shapes. There's going to be a playlist listed below your YouTube screen. I have about 8 different toppers and even a round one. Also, I'll have other table runner styles that you can choose from, and you can kind of create your own style making this. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you'll receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.